The story begins in the early hours of Christmas Eve at a quiet Christmas tree farm. A mysterious man known only as the Traveler arrives to meet with a group of Russian mobsters. He greets their boss, Oleg, and hands him a stack of money. But something goes horribly wrong. As soon as Oleg touches the cash, he begins to cough violently. Blood pours from his mouth. He's been poisoned. Before anyone can react, the Traveler calmly pulls out a gun and shoots Oleg's nephew, Yuri, dead. He then sets fire to the entire farm and disappears into the cold, dark night. Elsewhere, at Los Angeles International Airport, a young TSA agent named Ethan Kopech is getting ready for work. He's with his pregnant girlfriend, Nora Parisi. As they head to the airport, they talk about their future together. Nora encourages Ethan to give the police academy another try. He failed the first time, but she still believes he can make it if he tries again. When Ethan arrives at work, he's already running late for a meeting. He asks his supervisor, Phil Sarkowski, for a promotion. But Sarkowski isn't convinced. He tells Ethan that he doesn't show enough commitment. Ethan gives an emotional speech, saying he wants to prove himself. After thinking it over, Sarkowski gives him one more shot and assigns him to work the scanners. Meanwhile, the Traveler and his team are watching Jason Noble, Ethan's friend and fellow TSA agent. They've tapped into his personal life, stalking his wife, Lorraine, and their 2 children from a surveillance van. The Traveler is not alone. He's working with a man known as the Watcher and a third man, Mateo Flores. The original target for their plan was Jason, but once they realize Ethan is working the scanners instead, they change course. They send Mateo to break into Ethan's home, while the Watcher monitors everything from the van. Inside the van, Jesse, Mateo's husband, is being held hostage. The Traveler uses Jesse as leverage, forcing Mateo to follow his orders without question. With their new plan in place, they shift their focus entirely to Ethan. At the airport, a woman with striking blue hair walks up to Ethan and slips him an earbud. Moments later, Ethan's phone buzzes with a message telling him to put the earbud in. Thinking it's a prank by Jason, Ethan starts to call 911, but the voice in the earbud quickly proves it's no joke. It's the Traveler. He threatens Nora's life and describes in detail what she's doing at that very moment. Realizing the danger is real, Ethan stops the call and listens carefully. The Traveler tells Ethan that someone will soon arrive at the checkpoint carrying a bag, and that bag must be allowed through without any questions. If Ethan fails to cooperate, people close to him will die. Across town, LAPD detective Elena Cole arrives at the scene of the burned tree farm. While investigating, she finds a broken wristwatch. Inside is a listening device. With help from her tech-savvy colleague, Herschel, she starts decoding the audio, hoping it will lead her to whoever is behind the murders. Back at the airport, Ethan tries to figure out where the Traveler is. He hears chewing sounds and recognizes the ambient noise of the bar near the arcade. He realizes the Traveler is physically nearby. Desperate to get help, Ethan scribbles a hidden message in invisible ink on a boarding pass and hands it to his coworker, Lionel. But the Traveler sees everything. Moments after Lionel reads the message, the Traveler walks up behind him and jabs him with a sharp object. Lionel collapses to the floor and dies from a heart attack. Another warning to Ethan. Devastated, Ethan is approached by the Traveler in person. The Traveler scolds him, blaming him for Lionel's death. He reveals that Jason was the original target, but when Ethan took the shift instead, the plan was adjusted. He also makes it clear that if Jason had remained the target, his wife and kids would have been executed. After Lionel's death, Sarkowski moves Jason to the scanner, placing Ethan on metal detector duty. Knowing what's coming, the Traveler demands that Ethan get back on the scanner. Ethan hatches a plan. He plants a coffee cup with liquor near Jason's workstation and secretly informs Sarkowski. Believing Jason is drinking on duty, Sarkowski sends him home. Though Ethan saves Jason from the chaos, it shatters their trust. As all this unfolds, the detective continues decoding the audio from the watch. She and Herschel discover it contains details about a deadly nerve agent, Novichok. It's a substance so lethal that even the smallest dose can kill in seconds. Soon, the traveler's inside man, Mateo, arrives at the airport with a carry-on bag. Ethan spots the nerve agent but, under pressure, lets him through. He rushes to the bathroom to vomit, overcome with guilt. The traveler follows him in and coldly confirms that the plan is to release the Novichok on a plane carrying 250 people. He assures Ethan that he and Nora will be allowed to live after the job is done. Back on the investigation, Elena contacts the Department of Homeland Security. Agent John Alcott arrives to assist her. Together, they head to LAX, believing they're chasing a potential terrorist threat. Meanwhile, the airport intensifies its random search protocols. Ethan sneaks into a restricted system and uses someone else's clearance to flag Mateo's name. The traveler quickly notices and retaliates. When Ethan tries again to get Nora out of the airport, the watcher, parked nearby, aims a sniper rifle at her head, forcing Ethan to back down silently. In a private bathroom, Ethan and the traveler get into a brutal fight. Ethan manages to disarm him and steal his plastic gun. He demands that the watcher stand down, but instead, the traveler activates a hidden bomb in the airport. The timer starts ticking, 10 minutes until detonation. Ethan rushes to the TSA office where Sarkowski is questioning Mateo. The traveler tells Ethan to shoot Sarkowski, but he refuses. Mateo then grabs a pen and stabs Sarkowski in the throat. As Sarkowski dies, Mateo runs. Ethan chases him through the baggage area, where the bomb has accidentally ended up among the moving luggage. The two fight. Mateo confesses that he's only doing this because his husband, Jesse, is being held captive. They struggle for control. Mateo gets the gun and tries to shoot Ethan, but the weapon overheats and explodes, leaving Mateo fatally wounded. Before he dies, he apologizes. Ethan takes Mateo's phone and texts his coworker, Eddie, warning him about the threat and telling him to get Nora out safely. Meanwhile, Elena and Alcott are still driving toward the airport. Suddenly, Herschel calls Elena and reveals that 4 passengers are actually flagged, and that the real John Alcott is already en route to LAX. Elena realizes that the man beside her is an impostor. Ryan Mercer, a former mercenary and the one who's been gathering intel on Ethan. Mercer floors the accelerator, crashes the car, and attacks Elena. She fights him off and shoots him in the head before stealing a new car and continuing toward LAX. Back at the airport, Ethan and Eddie try to evacuate Nora, but the Watcher appears. He stabs Eddie and chases Nora through the parking lot. She fights back and smashes a bottle over his head, escaping to the police. Just as the Watcher is about to kill both her and Ethan, Jesse appears. He's escaped his captors and shoots the Watcher dead. Ethan tells Jesse that Mateo didn't make it. They also discover 2 plane tickets, one to New York and one to DC. Herschel informs Elena that the real target of the nerve gas attack is Congresswoman Grace Turner. She had recently failed to pass a bill that would limit private military contracts. The traveler's goal was to blame the Russians for the attack, ensuring the bill passes through fear. Ethan and Nora realize the plane carrying the Novichok is already flagged. But stopping the plane on the ground would trigger the airport bomb. The only solution: let the plane take off and disarm the bomb in the air. Nora convinces Elena to trust Ethan one last time. Mid-flight, Ethan sneaks into the cargo hold. Meanwhile, the traveler is also on board. The blue-haired woman hands him a parachute so he can escape after the attack. In the cargo hold, Ethan disarms the bomb, but it alerts the traveler. He descends to the hold to kill Ethan, but Ethan has a trick of his own. He has removed the canister containing the nerve gas and placed it in a vacuum-sealed refrigerator. In a final showdown, Ethan pushes the traveler inside and seals the door. The traveler dies in agony, locked in with the gas meant to kill hundreds. The pilots, noticing the chaos below, turn the plane back to LAX. Elena clears Ethan of any wrongdoing, allowing him to walk free. He reunites with Nora. Weeks later, Ethan and Nora have welcomed their baby into the world. He has patched things up with Jason. Both families are now close friends, traveling to Tahiti for a long-deserved break. At the airport, Ethan stands up for a fellow TSA worker being mistreated by a rude passenger. As he walks through security, he tosses something into the scanner bin, his LAPD badge. He has found his place. He doesn't need a title to be a hero.